Hey everyone, and once again welcome to WSQ Tech English channel. Myself Umar Daskir. Guys, in this particular video we are basically going to talk about the script. So we'll be talking about what are scripts and how they can actually benefit us. So as you can see on my laptop screen, what we have to do first, we have to go to this tools and settings options over here, and over here in the bulk section you can see we have scripts. So whenever we want to make some bulk changes, we basically use scripts, and there is very slight difference between rules and scripts. And very first thing that I will recommend over here is, if you are a beginner, I'll recommend you to go with rules. Do not go with scripts. If you are a beginner, always go with rules, because scripts are a bit complicated. These are the JavaScript code. So if you do not understand JavaScript or do not have any idea about JavaScript, these will be, very difficult for you to implement, right? So you have to take help of some JavaScript developer, right? But to automate the processes, to automate the flow, and to automate the operations, we have different scripts. We have different free scripts which are there on internet. You can simply Google them and you can use scripts according to your requirement. I'll just show you that what kind of scripts are there, right? But rules are very convenient for you, and you can easily set rules, right? So but scripts, because you have some codes over there, so it can be a little bit confusing for you if you do not know JavaScripts and the implementation of JavaScript. Then you have to rely on your JavaScript developer. So we have some free pre-made templates or pre-made scripts available on internet, and if you want some further customization, you can go to your JavaScript developer, or you can consult any JavaScript developer, and you can tell him or her about your requirements, and they will develop a script for you, right? So this is how it is going to work, right? So if we click on the scripts over here, right, now we are having options over here to upload the script, right? So as you can see on my laptop screen, I have one script over here. In fact, there are like two scripts. So the first one is like pause ads with low CTR. So if your ads are having low CTR, you can automatically pause them. So what this script will do is, when you will run this script, or when you will schedule this script to run, to execute, it will check your ads with low CTR, and then whatever the ads are there with low CTR, it will definitely pause them, right? So this is how it is going to work. Then we have another script over here which will basically pause all keywords with no impression. So if there are some keywords which are basically bringing no impressions to you, this script is going to pause them, right? So this is the thing that we can apply in our Google Ads, and we can automate many of the processes, right? So we have very basic scripts over here, and these are basic scripts, and we also have options of like a very advanced script that can do crazy things within your Google Ads campaign, ad groups, and keyword settings, right? So let us try with this script first, and let me copy this script so that I can upload this script over there. So let me copy this thing first. Yes, I have just copied this thing, and let us come back over here, and we have to click on this plus button over here. And as soon as we are clicking on this plus button, so it will ask us to give the authentication first, so that the script can make changes on the user's behalf. So this is the privacy kind of setting which is over here, right? So you can see over here we have authorize option over here. So what we have to do is, first we have to authorize it, and we will be able to execute our script. So let me authorize it first. Okay, fine, done. Now we have authorized it. We have clicked on the allow, and we have now authorized it. So let us close this thing, and now what we can do is basically we can paste our script over here. I have just removed whatever was written here earlier, and now what we can do is we can just go ahead and click on this run over here, and we can click on this run and preview, and now we'll be seeing if there are any changes, right, which are happening. Then we will be seeing those changes, right? So you can see ad status change from enabled to paused and everything. So we have all these. This script is basically making changes to our campaign, so we can actually do these kind of things. We can actually we can actually automate the processes according to our requirements using the scripts. I have just stopped it, and let me close this thing. So these are the different things that you can actually do with the script. Now I can also disable it, I can also duplicate it. If I want to make some changes over here, I can do the edit, I can run it, and for now I am disabling it because we actually do not require this thing, right? So this is how the scripts work, and there are so many scripts. You can just simply go to Google, and over there you can try like you can search free Google Ads scripts, and you will see so many of scripts over there. So as soon as I'm clicking over here, you can see over here there are like so many scripts, right? So we have so many scripts. You can basically try executing these scripts, and you can basically see and figure out that how these scripts are actually working, and you will see the scope of scripts and the power and potential of the scripts, right? So the whole internet is open for you. You can go and search for the free which are available on internet. So we are basically going to talk about the concepts related to dynamic keyword insertion. So we'll be seeing that how can we actually implement dynamic keyword insertion, and what is this thing and how it is going to help us, right? So let us recall some basics first. Now what we know so far is with regards to our search campaign. So we have some keywords, right? We have some keywords within our ad group, like if we have some keywords like cab booking, okay, and if we have keywords like cab rental services, and the third keyword over here is like we have to enter some keywords, some random keywords, so that we can understand the concept. So we know that our ad group contains different keywords, and these keywords will basically trigger our ad depending on what user is actually searching in the Google search engine, right? So we have keyword number 1, which is cab booking. We have keyword number 2, which is like cab rental services. We have keyword number 3, which is cab services, which are there in our ad group, right? So we have all these 3 keywords within our ad group, and this is ad group, this is ad group X. Now here a user comes to Google search and makes any query which is related to cab rental. So if the user is making any query and our ad is eligible to show, depending on the situations that our ad rank is good, so any one of this keyword is now responsible for this particular ad to trigger, right? Whenever our ad is actually shown, right, or whenever our ad got some impression, it is because of these keywords, right? So whenever user is searching something, if the intent of that particular user is mapping to the keywords which are present over there, but it will map to only one keyword, right? So for example, if we believe that okay, user is searching for cab rental in Google search, and the intent of that particular search is mapping to our keyword number 2, which is cab rental services, and due to the intent and everything else, our ad is showing in the Google search engine result pages, which is ad number 1, right? So our ad got triggered, but the keyword which actually triggered the ad is keyword number 2. Now what we want is, in this ad copy, we want to show the keywords which actually triggered the ad, right? So you got the concept. Now what we want is, what the advertiser want is, whenever a user is searching something in like Google search, and whatever keywords are responsible for triggering our ad, we want that particular keyword to be placed within our ad dynamically, Whenever I am saying dynamically, which means any one of the keywords can come into the headline or the description of the ad copy, because it is coming dynamically, and the logic behind dynamic insertion of the keyword is based on which keyword actually triggered the ad, right? So in this particular case, what we have assumed so far is there is a query in Google search, and the intent of this particular query is mapping to keyword number 2 over here, which has triggered some ad. And what I want now is, through dynamic keyword insertion, that this particular keyword should come, right? It should come anywhere in the, like, in headline or in description of the ad copy, right? So this is the thing that we can do actually. So now I am going to edit one ad over here, and so suppose if we want to insert keywords dynamically over here in our headline number 2, what we can do is simply we can select this curly braces, and we can click on this keyword insertion, right? So now it is saying that the keyword will come over here, right? There can be some scenarios in which the keyword is not coming over here, right? There can be some scenarios in which the keyword is not coming over here, right? So the scenarios can be, you can see over here, the person searches for dark chocolate bar, and you can see buy dark chocolate, right? Buy dark chocolate is showing over here. Then the person searches for sugar free chocolate, and sugar free chocolate is showing over here, right? And now here the person is searching for gourmet chocolate truffles, but it is again showing buy chocolate. Why this particular keyword of the search term is not showing over here? This is not showing over here because we have some character limits over here, right? So we have some character limits over here. That is why this particular search is not coming into our ad copy, right? Because of the limit. So since it is a long one, right, you can see in the last example, chocolate goes into the headline because the word gourmet chocolate truffle is too long to fit. So it is too long, right? It is more than 30 characters, so it is exceeding what Google offers us, as you can see over here. So if the length of keyword is more than this 30 character, which is which is basically proposed by Google, then our keyword will not be dynamically inserted over here. In that particular case, the default text will be appear, right? So the default text is like book cab services. So if the keyword is fit to come over here, it can come over here, right? This is dynamic keyword insertion. And if it is not coming because of any other reason, or maybe because of this length of that particular keyword, this default text will come into play, right? So this default text will show up over here if the dynamic keyword insertion is not happening, right? This is how we can actually do dynamic keyword insertion. So we can write some default text over here like cab services, and then we can click on this apply. So the keyword will come, or the cab services as by default keyword will, or by default text will appear over in the ad copy. So this is the concept behind dynamic keyword insertion. It is very useful. Why? Because see, whenever a user is typing something and the same text or the same content shows up in the headline or any way in the ad copy, that basically convinces searcher that okay, this is something that they were actually looking for, because the exact keyword is there in the ad copy, right? So we have to do these kind of things also, so that we can actually convince the searcher. We are basically going to talk about the shared budget and the concepts around shared budget, what are shared budgets and how they actually work, right? So this particular option you can see over here in this section. When you go to tools and settings, over here you will be seeing the option of shared budget. It is given over here, right? So now as of now, what we know is basically that we can put our daily budget, or we call it as average daily budget. We can put our average daily budget at the campaign level, right? So we can put this at the campaign level in Google Ads, and in Facebook Ads we have the option of putting daily budget at the ad group level. So whenever we put our average daily budget at the campaign level, suppose we have two campaigns, right? Suppose we have two campaigns. There is campaign number 1, and again then there is campaign number 2. So we have two campaigns, and in one campaign we have like average budget set to be rupees 1000, and in campaign number 2 we have set average budget to be like 500 rupees, right? Now we started running these campaigns. After some time, or after a day, what we see over here is this campaign has spent only 800 rupees, right? Throughout the day, this campaign has spent only 800 rupees. So here we basically left with 200 rupees over here, right? So this is there with campaign number 1. And now in campaign number 2, what we were seeing is, what results we have seen is like this complete budget exhausted in like first half of the day, right? So we were having more potential, but because this budget exhausted, we were not able to cater that particular potential, or we were not able to show our ads, or we were not able to get more impressions, right? Why? Because this budget actually exhausted at like, we can assume like 2 p.m, right? 2 p.m in the afternoon, and when it started at 12 midnight, right? So if we believe that okay, these both campaigns started at 12 midnight, and this campaign I mean spent 800 rupees for like 24 hours, still left with 200 rupees. Here this campaign's budget got exhausted by like 2 p.m. okay, 2 p.m. So now what we can basically conclude from here is, see, this 200 rupees budget is left over here, which could have been utilized over here in this campaign number 2, because the 500 budget that we put over here got exhausted by 2 p.m. only. So we were having 200 left over here, and this budget could have been utilized over here in campaign number 2 for the better campaign optimization, right? But if we want to execute something which is of this kind, what we have to do is we have to apply a shared budget, right? We have to define a shared budget, and we have to apply this shared budget along all the campaigns which are present over here. So if we have a total budget of like, this one was like 100 and 1500, right? So if we have total budget to be 1500, we can basically divide this budget, this complete 1500 budget, into two campaigns, which is like campaign number 1 and campaign number 2, and according to our impressions, according to our spend, according to the situation, that budget, that shared budget will be segregated or divided into both the campaigns, right? So if Google will find that okay, this campaign only requires rupees 800, it will allocate that 800 rupees to campaign number 1 only, and the rest of the amount will be allocated to campaign number 2. And if there is campaign number 3, so the complete shared budget will be divided into 3 campaigns, or whatever number of campaigns we are having, that will be divided accordingly, right? So from where we can basically do this thing is we have to come to this tools and settings over here, and here we have to go to shared budget, right? So shared budget is basically the concept which says that we have a complete budget, and that budget can be divided into different campaigns according to the requirement. So we can create a new shared budget over here. Suppose we want to create a budget like budget of rupees 500, and this is shared budget. So we can write SB over here, shared budget for ABC campus. We wanted to divide this into 3 campus, and you can also mention amount over here like 5,000 rupees, right? So if you want to add to campaigns over here only, that you can also do. Or if you want to create this shared budget, and further when you are going to create a new campaigns, you want to allocate at that particular moment, right? So you have both the options. So what we are going to do over here is we just have to click on this save. Now we have this shared budget over here. Now if we go to new campaign creation process, if we go to this new campaign over here, and if we go to create a campaign without a goal guidance, if we go to search over here, now if we go to continue, and if we try to create a new campaign, it will basically ask us that whether you want to put the daily budget, average daily budget at campaign level, or you want to utilize your shared budget settings or the shared budget amount for this particular campaign, right? So you have both the options. Why you have both the options? Because now you have defined your shared budget and you have not allocated any I mean you have not attached any campaign with that shared budget yet, but yes, you have the option over here. So if you come down over here, and if you see like apply from shared budget over here, you can select this thing. Now this budget will be utilized for this particular campaign. Got my point? So if you are creating multiple campaigns, you can use this shared budget for different campaigns, like campaign number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you do not have to, so now you do not have to actually put budget your daily budget at the campaign level. You can put directly from the shared library, and that then it will be spread across the different campaigns which are there and which are using this particular shared budget. So this is how it actually works, and you also have the option of associating campaigns to this at the time of shared budget creation only. So what you can do is, let us discard this thing and let us come over here in this shared budget option. And if we come over here, right, so you have the option of applying this budget to different campaigns. You can select different campaigns like this one, so and this one. So you can select different campaigns and you can apply the shared budget, the concept of shared budget, to these campaigns. So now these campaigns will be using that particular 5,000 rupees, and Google will decide that how it can according to situation, how Google can basically push the budgets into these campaigns, and they will be utilizing a common budget which is there, and the amount of common budget is 5,000 rupees. According to the campaign's performance, Google will automatically decide what amount should be given to what particular campaign, right? So we are basically going to talk about the auction insight option, which is present there in the keyword report in Google Ads, right? So we'll be discussing about what are auction insights and what kind of information we are going to see in auction insight. So before actually starting this video, I would like to request you to please do subscribe this channel and don't forget to press the notification bell so that you do not miss any one of the upcoming important videos. So guys, as you can see on my laptop screen, if I want to access auction insight, we have to come over here and we have to go to this keyword section over here, and then we have this auction insight option present over here, right? So first of all, I would like to tell you that auction insight is only available for the search campus and shopping campus. Earlier it was also available for display campus, but now it is not available for display campus. It is only available for search campus and shopping campus. Now what auction insight tell us? See, auction insights tell us the report of how we are performing and how our competitors are performing within an auction. So we know that whenever we basically want to advertise on Google search engine result page, whenever we want to show our ad on Google search engine result page, no matter if it is Google search ad or it is Google shopping ad, if we want to show our ad in Google search engine result pages, so we have to basically go through an auction, right? So when we take participation into that auction, along with us, our competitors also take participation into that auctions, right? So what kind of report, what kind of impression share, what kind of positions we are getting there in the auctions, all these things this auction insight report will tell us. So as you can see over here, we have this U over here, and then we have a list of our competitors or the list of other domains which were there in the auction. And you can see over here its impression share, overlap rate, position above rate, top of the page rate, absolute top of the page rate, and outranking share, right? So now let me tell you what does this impression share actually means, right? So guys, the impression share means that suppose if your ad is like eligible to show for 10 times, right? The eligibility of your ad to show or to appear or to trigger is 10, and you got only 5 impression, which means that your impression share is 50. So you have your impression share over here, you have your competitors impression share over here, and I believe you are performing good with regards to the impression share that you have, right? Then there is overlap rate. So guys, overlap rate is like how often another advertiser's ad received an impression in the same auction that your ad also received an impression. So if you and your competitor or some other advertiser also got an impression in the same auction, then it will be called as overlap rate. So you can see over here is we both have an overlap rate of like somewhere around 19 percentage, right? So this is the overlap rate, and then we have position above rate. So it is how often another advertiser's ad in the same auction shows in a higher position than your own when both of your ads were shown at the same time. So if both of the ads are shown at the same time, by how much percentage your competitor or other advertiser is above your ad, right? So it's like position above rate. Now here we are seeing another report which is like top of the page rate. Top of the page rate tells us that let's say if your ad is shown like 10 times, and out of those 10 times you got 7 impression at the top of the page, right? At the top of the page, right? So guys, whenever we see search engine result page, like if we type over here digital marketing course, if we type digital marketing course over here, okay, and whatever ad we are about to see, like these one, right? So all these 4 ads are present at the top of the page, right? All these 4 ads are present at the top of the page, whereas when we come down over here, we are having 3 ads over here also. These are basically at the bottom of the page, right? And all these 7 ads are present at the first page of our search engine result page. This is how we basically categorize that where our ad is showing. So if we come back to our audience insight section over here, we can see that top of the page rate over here, and this is like this section over here where 4 ads are actually showing. This is the top of the page rate, and at the bottom we have this bottom of the page rate over here. So somewhere out of 10, 7 times our ad is shown in the top of the result pages, whereas other competitors like booking.com, they were like 9 times in the top of the page, right? So if they got 10 impression, more than 9 times their ad is present at the top of the page, right? So this is what this actually means, right? Then we have absolute top of the page rate. Absolute top of the page means that the first position. So now we are going to talk about absolute top of the page rate. So you can see over here it's saying that you got 43.17 percentage of absolute top of the page rate, which means that out of 10 times your ad is at the first position. When we say absolute top of the page, which means that I am talking about the position number 1. So out of 10 times, 4 times our ad is at the position number 1. It's ranking at position number 1. This is absolute top of the page rate. Now when we talk about the outranking share, it is again a very important metric. Outranking share is basically how often your ad ranked higher in the auction than other advertisers' ad, or if your ad showed when there did not, right? So this is now something very relative. So now how you are performing or how you outranked others, this is what this report tells us. This is what this column is telling us. So that's it. This again is a very important report. And so guys, whenever you are seeing this report, which is like auction insight report, you have to work on your bidding, right? You can derive conclusions from this report, that how your bidding should be, what amount you should bid, right? Or you have to make changes in your bidding amount, like if you have to increase your bidding amount, or if you have to decrease your bidding amount, or if you have to increase your budget. So all these conclusions you can actually make after seeing this auction insight report. So we are basically going to talk about the labels, that how can we actually use labels in Google Ads and how they are helpful to us. So this is what we are going to discuss in this particular video. But before actually starting the video, I would like to request you to please do subscribe this channel and don't forget to press the notification bell so that you do not miss any one of the upcoming videos. So as the name suggests, labels are like giving a category, or kind of giving a name to your like campaigns or keywords or ad groups, whatever you want. So we are basically putting an sticker on like our campaigns or ad groups or our keywords, right? So whenever you are having a high number of campaigns or high number of keywords and you want to associate a tag with those keywords or campaigns, so you can use the concept of labels. So guys, labels will basically increase your productivity. And how can we do this? Let me tell you. So first of all, we should go to columns over here, and then we should activate our label column over here so that we can see what label is there, right? So let me search labels first. Over here we have labels, and what we have to do is we have to basically activate this section, right? So let me select label over here, and okay, it is now activated, and we have to apply this thing, and let's see where it is showing. It's showing over here. We have to bring it in front somewhere over here so that we can see how it actually looks like, right? So this is just for us. I mean, you can put it over here also. We can do this thing. We just have to click again on modify columns, and over here we have to drag and drop this label from here to like over here after the impressions or after the campaign type, right? So this is what we can do now. Let me click on this apply. Now our label is over here, right? So if we think that I have some scenarios over here also. You see, some campaigns are for web page 1 or any specific landing page, and if you have so many campaigns and you want to identify that what campaigns are there for landing page X, right? And if some campaigns are there for the landing page Y, and you want to differentiate them, right? Or you want to filter them, then you can basically use the concept of labels. So we have like some campaigns are there for landing page X, and some campaigns are there for landing page Y, and we have to differentiate them with the help of labels. Then how can we actually do this? Suppose these two campaigns are there for landing page X, right? So what can we do is we have to select these two campaigns. We have to go to this label option over here, and then we have to click on this new label, and over here we can write for campaign for landing page X, and then we can also write some description with regards to this landing page, right? And then we have to click on this create option, right? So this is label 1, and now these two campaigns are under label 1. You can see over here now a label is associated to these two campaigns. We can put labels on other campaigns also, like these three, and we have to select all these three, and then we can go ahead and we can create a new label, which is like, we can also play with the colors and everything. We can change the color over here, and now we can write landing page Y or Y landing page, and then we can click on create over here. Now we have 5 labels associated with these 5 campaigns over here. And now if you have high number of campaigns, what you can do basically is you can go ahead and click on add filter, and you can select over here label, and out of label you can select that what kind of campaigns you want to see, right? So guys, if you are doing this thing, it will basically increase your productivity. Now you can go ahead and select landing page X, and you can simply click on this apply, and then you will be seeing only those campaigns over here, right? Landing page X we can select, and we can click on apply. Now we are seeing 2 campaigns over here which are basically associated with landing page X. What else we can do is basically we can also come to our keywords over here, like we are coming at our search keywords over here. Let's come to this search keyword which we have selected over here, right? So once we are over here at this search keyword section, and what we can do is basically we have one case over here, right? So you can see if we have some best keywords which are basically performing well, we can associate them with some labels, or we can assign some labels to them, right? So suppose if we have these 3 keywords which are performing well, now what we can do is basically we can go ahead and create a new label, and we can also change the color if we want. We can change the color, we can write like best keywords over here, right? So these are the best keywords, or these are the keywords that we actually want to track. So it totally depends on us that what kind of label we want to provide, or what kind of thing we actually want to track, so that we can associate some label with that, right? So we have provided some label to this thing, but what we have to do is we have to go to columns, we have to go over here, and we have to select label from there, and then we have to apply this thing so that label comes over here. You can see now we are seeing labels also, right? Now whenever we are accessing any report, we can also access report on the basis of labels. How can we actually do this? You can simply go to reports over here, and if you go to this label option over here, now you have the option of selecting labels at the campaign level, at the ad group level, or at the ad level which you have associated, or at the keywords level. So as soon as we click on the keywords level, now you are going to see the reports of those keywords which are having some label, right? So let's click on this OK, and over here now you can see these are the best keywords, our best keywords and their performance. So this is how you can utilize the power of labels. Now we are going to see some labels over here which are associated with different keywords, like these best this best keyword label contains 3 keywords. Now there will be like a combined report for all these 3 keywords within this label, right? So now how these keywords are performing which are under label best keyword, that we can see over here, right? So this is how label actually works. So we are basically going to talk about automated rules, and we are going to see practically that how can we actually implement them. So as you can see on my laptop screen over here, I have 2 rules written over here. So we are going to implement these 2 rules practically, and we are going to see that how can we actually implement this thing. But before actually starting the video, I would like to request you to please do subscribe this channel and don't forget to press the notification bell so that you do not miss any one of the upcoming videos. So as you can see over here, what we have to do, we have to simply go to tools and settings, and over here we have this particular rules option in this bulk section, right? So we have to click on this rules option, and first of all you can see over here what we have to do is we have to pause all the keywords with a cost per conversion that's more than ₹50. So this actually depends on your nature of business, that what is basically your nature of business, and according that you will apply these kind of keyword rules, right? So what we have to do is we have to simply click on this big plus blue button over here. Then we can apply rules at different levels and with different scenarios. You can see over here we have campaign related rules, we have ad group related rules, we have keyword related rules, we have ad rules. But for now what we are going to do is we are basically going to implement the keyword rules, because this scenario is related to keywords, right? What we want is we want to pause all keywords with a cost per conversion that's more than ₹50, right? So I'll write over here pause keywords where cost per conversion, right, where cost per conversion is greater than 50, right? So now what we have to do is simply we have to click on this action, and what we want to achieve, we want to pause our keywords, right? So that is what we are going to select. Now we have the option of applying this particular rule at the account level or at the campaign level or at the ad group level. So let's say if we are applying this at the ad group level, and let's assume that if we are selecting this demo ad group over here, and what condition we are doing over here is like keyword status all but removed is over here. Now in this condition what we have to select is that we want to select all enabled keywords. So this particular rule will be applied to all enabled keywords, right? Now along with this we have to add a condition, right? So the condition is if the cost per conversion is okay, we can select from here if the cost per conversion is greater than 50, right? So these kind of rules we can create. The rules will be applied to like all enabled keywords, and they also must have their cost per conversion greater than ₹50. Then those particular keywords will be paused, right? So this is what this particular rule is going to do. And then we have the frequency option over here, which will decide that how many times this ad is going to run, or at what frequency this particular rule is going to run, right? So this is what we are going to do. Now we have the email results option over here. So if we want to receive this thing through email, that we can also do. Then we can click on this preview button over here to see that what kind of changes will be there, right? So this is the preview option over here also. Now we can save this rule, and this rule will be applied, right? This rule will be like enabled, right? Then we have another rule over here, and this is again the change keyword bits to recommended bits. So it will be again applied to like keywords only. We can save this rule for now. Okay, so we can save this rule simply, and then we will come back again over here this plus, and this is again keyword rule, the rule number 2, and let's say what we are going to name this change bits to recommended, right? So whatever the recommended bids are, whatever the recommendations are given by Google, the keywords bid will be automatically changed to those recommendations, right? Now the action is, now here we are not going to select enable keywords or the pause keywords, we are going to select change keyword bids, and what we are going to do is basically change bids to like first page CPC, right? Along with this we also have some controlling option over here, so that we can also select maximum bid limit, which is again optional, and if we are not selecting this thing, our cost per click will be very high. Then we have the option of selecting where we actually want to apply this rule, and then we have the conditions over here, frequency and email results, right? So now we have different approaches of applying rules, and it totally depends on us that what kind of rules we want to apply, what kind of automations we need, what kind of automated executions we actually require, that we can do through rules. And we also have seen that the rules are not only applicable at the keywords level or at the campaign level or at the ad group level. We have different things where our rules will be applied, right? So we are basically going to see some more examples of rules and how can we actually implement them. So I have some scenarios over here, some more scenarios that we are going to implement in this particular video, and we will be seeing practically that how can we execute these things, right? So as you can see on my laptop screen, I have few cases over here and I have two examples over here, or two scenarios over here that we will be implementing. The first scenario is that if we want to run campaigns only for the weekend, right? So if we require to run our campaigns only on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, then how can we actually do this thing and how can we automate this process using the rules option which is there in our Google Ads platform, right? So what we have to do for this specific case, we have to implement two rules, right? The first rule will do something like it will start our campaign, whatever campaign we want to run for the weekends, it will start that campaign, and we have to set the time when it will start the campaign. So the rule one is like it will start our campaign on Friday morning 9 a.m., right? So this is what rule one will be doing, right? And then we will implement another rule, then we will basically configure another rule which will stop that particular campaign on Sunday, every Sunday, right? Every Sunday, if we want to execute it throughout the month for all the weeks, then this rule 2 will stop our selected campaign, whichever we want, right? Selected campaign on Sunday by the evening 9 p.m., right? So we have to implement two rules. Now this complete scenario cannot be implemented into a single rule. So for this purpose, we have to take help of two rules and we have to implement this scenario using two rules, right? So how can we actually do this? Let's see this thing practically. That will be much more convenient for us. So guys, what we have to do is we have to come to this tools and settings option over here, and then we have to go to rules. And as I told you, these rules will be applied at campaign level. So what we have to do is we have to click on this big blue plus button, and over here what we have to do is basically go to campaign rules, because these rules will be implemented at campaign level. And then we will name it like pause campaign, right? Pause campaign or start campaign, basically start campaign, because first we have to start this campaign on Friday, right? So start campaign Friday and like 9 a.m., right? So whatever the campaign name is, you can name it also like event campaign. I'm giving it a random name. Now we have the action which is like enable campaigns, and we have selected our campaign and it will be applied to all campaign, right? Campaign status which is like all but removed, it will be applied, right? And then we have to select the frequency that when this rule is going to like execute, right? So what we have to do is we have to go to weekly. This rule will apply weekly on like Friday, and then we have to select our time over here which is like 9 a.m. Fine, got it? So now this is how we are going to do this, and the frequency is everything is now set. Now we have to save this rule out. So this is the first thing that we did now. And the another thing that we can do is basically we can again select this campaign. We can go to edit, we can go to like create an automated rule, and then we can name it like pause campaign, because now my campaign is set to start and now we have to pause it also. So we can write like pause campaign every Sunday. Then we can put our campaign name over here like event campaign, and then what we have to do, we have to select pause campaign. The campaign is selected, app 1, and then the frequency will be like weekly Sunday, right? Every Sunday at 9 p.m. So this is how it is going to work. So if you want to execute something like this, then also you can do these kind of things. So whatever scenario we have created over here, now we have implemented that scenario into rule 2. So if you have something like this and you want to execute this thing, you can do this way, right? So this is how it is going to work. And now we have another scenario over here. Let me save this rule over here first, and then we will come back to the scenario number, which says if you want to exclude specific keywords from a rule, then how can you actually do that? Suppose what you know so far is that if anyone is asked, please do create a rule which will pause all the keywords which are having the cost per conversion greater than rupees 10, or whatever it can be, like cost per click can also be there, like anything, right? Anything greater than 10, just pause that keyword, right? but there is a case that exclude those keywords which have the term taxi in them. Please exclude those keywords which have the term taxi in them. But other than that, any keyword within that campaign which is having its cost per conversion greater than 10, just pause it, exclude the keywords which contain the term taxi, right? So how we can do this thing? We simply have to come back again to our tools and setting option over here, and then we have to go to this rules section. Fine. Once we are into rules section, what we have to do is we have to go to this keyword rules and like pause keywords. Okay, so now we will select our action, that pause keywords, and this will be applied to, like, if you have any ad group over there, you can select any ad group and you can apply this thing to any ad group. Let's say we want to apply this on this particular ad group, and now we have to select the condition which says that keyword text. Fine. So we have to select keyword text over here, keyword text. Now we have to select does not contains, and we have to put taxi over here, right? And then we have to apply, and then we can create our rule. So we have so many options, we have so many scenarios, we have so many conditions that we can trigger or that we can implement using the rules. We are basically going to talk about if function and countdown function which are present there in Google Ads. So how can we implement them and what are their uses? This is what we are going to discuss in this particular video. So before actually starting the main content of this particular video, I would like to request you to please do subscribe this channel and don't forget to press the notification bell so that you do not miss any one of the upcoming videos. So whenever you are in the process of creating your search ad, right over here, as you can see on my laptop screen, I'm about to create a search ad, and whenever we are about to create a search ad, what we can do is, suppose we are at our headline number 2, and as soon as we are going to put this curly braces over here, right, what we are seeing 3 options over here. Right now I am not talking about keyword insertion because that is what I have already discussed in previous videos. Now I am going to talk about the countdown feature and if function. So if we go to this if function, what this if function does is, suppose, see, if you want to show something very specific in your headline number 2 for mobile devices, right, then you can use these kind of features. So if you want to show, like, if the device is mobile, right, if the device is mobile, what you want is people should see like 50% off on mobiles. So if you want to show others this thing, 50% off on mobile apps in headline 2 if they are coming from mobile, right? So now your headline 2 is device specific. So if the device is mobile, they are going to see this thing, or else they are going to, or otherwise they are going to see offers available. Now if function can work on 2 situations. First is, it can basically work on, I mean, the variable over here is device, that if device is mobile, then you can show this text in headline or wherever you want to show, right? I have selected headline 2. You can also do this same process over here in headline number 1. You can do same process in the description also. So if you want to implement this if function in headline 2 or 1 or wherever you want, right, in headlines or description, you can do that. Now this is what we call as device specific. Now if you want to be like audience is specific and you want to select the audience, that okay, or this kind of headline can convince them, or this kind of description can convince them. So you can basically be audience specific and write your headline or description according to that, as we did for like our devices, right? So if you think, or if you analyze that, okay, so if you think that okay, people coming from mobile devices would love this kind of headlines. So if I am showing this kind of headline like to the people who are coming from mobile, there is high chance that they are going to click on that and they will be converting, right? So this is how you perceive things, and this is how you implement things. So you have 2 options over here. Either you can go with the devices, right? So if the device is this, you can put your selected text over there, right? Or if the audience is this, you can also put your selected text over there. So you have 2 options to implement if function anywhere in the headline or in the description, right? So this is all about the if function. And if we go to this countdown function, now countdown function is very interesting feature over here. If we go to this countdown, right, and suppose you are promoting any event and the last date of purchasing the ticket is, for example, let's say 25th January. So you have only 7 days left, right? Now you want people to see over here in this headline that you want to show people that 7 days left. But when anyone will come on Google search and they will see your result on on 20th or 21st, they will be seeing the same headline, right? 7 days left, which is not actually real, right? Which is not real, right? Because now only 4 days left. So you want to create a headline that will automatically change, right? So the countdown over there will automatically update according to the dates, right? So as the dates are changing, the headline content will also change. So earlier, if it was like the sale ends in 7 days or the offer expires in 7 days, so after one day it will automatically become that okay, offer expires in next 6 days, offer expires in next 5 days, and so on. So this is one of the very important use of countdown feature which is there. But if there is any situation of using countdown feature, then only you are going to use it, right? So let me show you how it is actually going to work. So as soon as you are over here at this countdown, let me do this at this headline number 1 over here. So as soon as we select this countdown over here, and let's say countdown ends, so the final end date over here is like 25th January, and the start of day is what you can say that countdown starts 5 days before. So the countdown will start at 20th January, fine, 20th January, and what we will be seeing over here is like, I can write over here, offer expires in 3 days. So this is how it is going to show, right? So if you have written offer expires in, or like coupons expiring in, whatever you want, right? So what I am writing over here is offer expires in, and next over here is written 3 days. So the offer will expire in next 3 days. So if anyone is coming tomorrow, what they are going to see in our ad is offer expire in 2 days, and if anyone is coming day after tomorrow, what they will be seeing is offer expires in 1 day. So it is dynamically changing. So as we know that this is countdown feature which is basically updated regularly. So if you are running some time based campaigns, you can definitely use these kind of features over there. So when you'll come over here in the countdown feature, you have countdown ends, which you have to basically specify over here that when you actually want to end your countdown and when you want to start it, right? If your countdown date is like 18th, so if you want to start it like 5 days back or 4 days back, you can set it over here. And then again, you have two options over here like time zone. So you have the options, choose whether the countdown starts and ends in the time zone of your Google Ads account or in the zone of your ad viewer. So you have to select this thing. You have both the options. You can either select your time zone, right? Your time zone is basically your ad account's time zone. Countdown will execute according to your time zone, the time zone that you have entered in your Google Ads. Now this is why the basic settings in Google Ads are also important. So you can either select the account time zone, or you can also select the ad viewer time zone, where this offer will, I mean the countdown will execute according to the ad viewer's time zone, and in this account time zone, the countdown will execute according to the account time zone that you have selected in your Google Ads account. So we are basically going to talk about the concepts related to similar audience. What are the similar audience in Google Ads platform and how can we implement them, where we can see them, how can we add them into our campaigns? This is what we are going to discuss in this particular video. So basically, before starting this video, I would like to request you to please do subscribe this channel. Don't forget to press the notification bell so that you do not miss any one of the upcoming videos. So guys, as you can see on my laptop screen, I am into my Google Ads platform over here. And now what we have to do is, see, we have to go ahead into the audience manager, because whenever we are talking about the audiences, no matter what kind of audiences we are talking about, we have to come to this audience manager section over here. So all the audiences which we know or which we can create or which we can implement in our campaigns are all present over here in this section, audience manager, right? So you can see over here we have audience list over here, and if you are going to browse this audience list very carefully, you will see that you have the type of audience over here, right? So we have similar to YouTube remarketing audience over here, which is like YouTube users. We have video ad number 1 viewers over here. We have WS subscribers over here. We have similar to WS subscribers over here. We have different audiences over here, right? But if you come down and you can see over here, these audiences are automatically created, the similar audience, right? You can see over here we have the type similar audience over here, and it is automatically created. Why it is automatically created? If you look at this one, similar to all visitors AdWords. Now we already have an audience of all the visitors. Now how Google knows about all the visitors of our website? It is because of the remarketing tag which is there on our website. That is why it is written AdWords over here in the brackets, right? So we have all visitors over here. You can see this is like website visitors, and it is again automatically created. and it contains the list of the users who are all visitors. And why this Google Ads is over here? Because people who visited pages that contains your remarketing tag. The pages which have our remarketing tag, they automatically create a list which contains the users who visited on those specific pages, right? So this particular audience is automatically created, and because this particular audience is automatically created, Google has also created another audience which is similar to this all visitors audience. As you can see, this is again a similar audience which is again automatically created, right? So Google automatically creates the similar audience of different audiences which is already there, right? So you have to wait for this thing. For the similar audience to be automatically created, you have to wait for this thing. So once you have enough data, like you have this shopping cart abandoners over here. Now this audience includes people who added products to their shopping cart but did not complete the purchase, right? Now this audience set contains these people, right? So if the numbers in this shopping cart abandoners will increase, Google will automatically create a similar audience of this particular audience set, right? So this is how the concept of similar audience works. And is very similar to the lookalike audience which is present there in Facebook ads, right? Now if we talk about the advantages of similar audience, again it can also provide you good returns because it is similar to the audience who already interacted with your profile in this particular case. Now these similar audience, if created logically, they can also provide you good returns, right? So you can see past bias retail Google ads over here. So if the numbers in this particular audience set will increase, and Google will automatically create a similar audience of past bias. Now you can target this similar audience also, right? So as soon as we are going over here in this like search, and then we click on continue, and if we are selecting any audience, let me show you. If we are selecting any audience over here, and if we go to browse, and if we go to similar audience, now we have the option over here of selecting the different similar audiences, right? So if your similar audience list is increasing, that is basically beneficial for you, because now strategically you can use that similar audience in any one of your campaigns and drive results. Whenever we talk about the similar audience, it is basically made up of some seed audience, some basic audience over there, right? So if that basic audience is basically close to your conversion or close to what you want to achieve. Now if we talk about the audience which added a product into their cart, now this particular audience is very close to our converter. So the similar audience of the people who added a product in their cart is very useful for us, right? So if we want to increase our scope of audience, then we can go to similar audience. As I told you, it is very similar to the lookalike audience concept which is there in Facebook advertisement. Now you can see on my laptop screen, I have one documentation from Google which actually talks about the similar audience for search. If you see over here how it works, it will tell you that Google Ads looks at the recent search activity of the visitors in your remarketing list to help aggregate search behavior of the visitors in your list. Based on this information, whatever Google has collected, that what kind of keywords people are actually searching for, what kind of interactions people are doing who are already in your remarketing list, and based on this information, they create a parallel similar audience which is similar to your existing remarketing list audience. System automatically finds new potential customers whose search behavior is similar to that people in your remarketing list. So when I'm using the words automatically, it means that Google automatically creates that similar audience. Now this is again a very important section over here which says that qualifying for similar audience, actually what are the things that basically qualify to come into similar audience, right? So it is like the number of visitors on the original list, how recently these people joined the original list, the similarity of these visitors search behavior, any adjustment made to the original list. All these things will create an impact on the creation of the similar audience, right? So that's it for this specific video. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.